Well, hey, everybody. Over the past few years, there's been all this conversation about high yield savings accounts. Basically, they're going to pay more than a regular savings account at a bank. Many times, these high yield savings accounts are, with online banks, and they're just promised to pay 3% per year or 4% per year, which of course is higher than the banks. But I'm going to share with you in this video 5 reasons why option selling is better than your traditional savings account methods, even the high yield savings account. All right, let's get into it. The first reason or the first way that option selling is better than a high yield savings account is because you got higher returns with controlled risk. When you're working with your high yield savings account, you basically are putting your money into a place, into the atmosphere, and they're using your money to buy stocks and buy things with it. Just know that your money is being used to buy other things, right? Your money's not just sitting there because it's not going to grow that way. They're taking your money and using it for other things. If you use your own money in option selling strategies such as cash secure puts or covered calls, and I want to talk a little bit more about those in a minute, but if you use some selling strategies, you're going to see a much higher rate of return on your money with controlled risk. Well, how are you going to see this? Because you're like, okay, so what? How? If you do something like sell cash secure puts, or you want to sell covered calls. Covered calls include you owning 100 shares of the stock and then selling against those 100 shares. First of all, to own 100 shares of something is an asset. If you own 100 shares of McDonald's, that says that you're an owner of McDonald's. If you want to sell covered calls against it, basically it's almost like renting your shares to the market, and they'll pay you a premium while you are in this seller trade. Of course, you'd pick strikes that would be higher than, how much you paid for the shares, so that way you could keep them. That way you keep the shares in your account and you make money off of them while you hold them. Okay. Even if you did that and you made 10% a month off of that, because 10% a month is highly doable, actually it's very, very conservative, that's going to be better than the 4% per year that the high yield savings account is going to pay you. 10% per month, 4% per year. I think y'all can do the math, right? You also could do something like sell cash secure puts. Cash secured puts basically is when you are selling a put against something, and you're doing that with the expectation or the thoughts that you'd like to be able to buy the shares at a cheaper price. So let's say you're looking at something like I'm gonna pick Apple, and Apple could be at $190. I'm actually not very sure where Apple is right now, but let's use that example. $190, and you say, I like Apple shares, but I'd like to buy them at $175. Then you will sell puts at the $175 strike. If the price gets down to $175, you will acquire 100 shares at that price, but it's going to be cheaper than buying 100 shares at $190, right? So you can use cash secure puts. Once you have these shares, you can then do covered calls. All of this will stay inside of your brokerage account. Oh, by the way, inside of your brokerage, you can have an IRA. So an IRA is going to operate for you just like a nice retirement situation. It's actually called a retirement account, right? That's what the R and the A are. And you're going to be selling and keeping your asset inside of your IRA and setting and growing this wealth for 2025. That's what we're after. We're here to try to grow our own money. Yes, we can put our money on our own shares, the things that we agree with and things we want to support. You can make the determination on your own about which stocks you want to put your money on and generate your own wealth. That's what we're after. Yes. Okay, reason number 2 that it's better to use option selling than a high yield savings account is you've got income generation in all market conditions. If you only own shares, or if you put your money in the savings account and the interest rate goes down, like many people have, by the way, many people who started high yield savings accounts were told they were going to make 4.5 or 5% on their on their accounts, and now they've noticed that those same institutions have sent them information that says, oh no, we're not quite going to give you that amount. We're now going to pay you 3% or 3.5%. And they've basically done this like along the way. They didn't even give them a whole bunch of notice, just said, this is what's happening, like it or lump it. And you're like, what? I don't like that. Oh, I don't want that. Anyway, they started off selling you lots of dreams, and then along the way said, we don't think we can keep that up, so let's go with a different amount. Those things are based on the shares continuing to go up. But if you're selling options, you can sell cash secure puts and covered calls again. You can sell things and you're selling against your assets. Well, your bank, this high yield savings account isn't going to do that for you. They're not going to even tell you that that's what they're doing, because they probably are using your money for that, but they're not going to tell you that, nor are they going to give you your own proceeds. If you are trading cash secure puts and covered calls for yourself, those are bullish and neutral and bearish strategies. Covered calls is more of a bearish and neutral strategy. Cash secure puts is bullish and neutral. But anytime you've got the market just kind of consolidating and going up and down in a channel, you can be making money. You can be growing your own money in 2025. The third reason why option selling is better than high yield savings account is because you can utilize your capital efficiently. You get to choose how and where you're using your money. Let's say there's some growth stock that you really, really like, and it's going to take some time, but you believe in what's going on. One of these for me is SoFi. I believe SoFi's got a lot of positive upside, and I invest in SoFi at this low price. Now, mind you, I'm not giving any investment advice because I'm not an investment advisor, but I'm saying, not a financial advisor, right? But I'm saying that's a stock that I happen to like. Well, SoFi at this point is in the $14, $15 range, but I have great long range thoughts about SoFi. I can now, if you could, in your option selling account, you could buy shares of SoFi and ride up. If you put your money into the high yield savings account, you don't know what they're buying. You don't know what they're putting your money on. You may be in complete disagreement with what they're buying. They might be putting your money on something that ethically you don't agree with. If you are doing your own though, then you can decide where do you put your resources, all right? So you're using your own money the way you want to use it, and you're even growing it even faster than they are. I told you 10% a month, very, very conservative. Really, we actually shoot for 10% a week. 10% every 2 weeks, but 10% a month, let's be conservative. It's better that way, okay? The fourth reason why option selling is better than a high yield savings account is there's tax advantages for selling. Tax advantages, that's what we want. We want some tax advantages. High yield savings accounts, there's no tax advantages. But if you have your IRA, you know you're going to be shielded. If you are using some of the indices. So let's say you're using SPX and you're using RUT, or you're using NDX. Some of the indices, there's tax shelters inside of those tradings, inside of those equities, and you're going to benefit from that. When you use your own money, you get to decide. All right, so I've talked about 4 things already. I've already mentioned cash secure puts and covered calls. If you go into my website, educator2trader.com, educator2trader.com. You can go there and see all the resources. The one I want you to focus on now is cash secure puts and covered calls. It is called the wheel strategy, WHEEL. The wheel strategy shows you where you sell cash secure puts, you acquire the shares at a lower price, then you sell covered calls. If they get called away, then you just start all over again. You can do this strategy and sell cash secure puts and covered calls on any stock that sells options. All right. Anything you buy, you have to have your 100 shares, and you work it like that. All right. Go to the website, educator2trader.com, and avail yourselves of the strategy and the training there. All right. So here's our last one. Our last reason why option selling is better than a high yield savings account is you've got the compounding effect of reinvesting your premiums. As you continue to make more premiums in this process of cash secure puts and covered calls, you're making money there. And if you reinvest that money into more shares, okay? So let's say, for example, you sell cash secure puts on SoFi. You end up with your 100 shares. You sell covered calls. Every time you sell covered calls, you make premiums. You make money off of those shares. And when you're selling this contract, take those same premiums and put that money back into buying more shares. Before you know it, you're adding 2 more, 4 more, 6 more, 20 more, 50 more shares, and then you're ready to you'll have a whole new set of another 100 shares to sell another covered call against. And you keep growing it that way. You use the premiums to buy more shares. Use your premiums from selling to buy more shares. All right. This is the good plan. It's a great plan to use option selling and the wheel strategy to make more money and make more wealth in 2025 than doing in a high yield savings account. They're not offering any more interest on your high yield savings account. But as you use option selling, you're going to be making premiums. You're reinvesting those premiums into buying more shares, and you are going to have control over how much money you make with your money. All right. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me in all the places. I'm Arlissa. I'm educator to trader. We do have a membership. If you'd like to be more closely involved with our community and know exactly how to use these. The training, of course, is very, very great if you're a do-it-yourselfer, but sometimes people need a little extra assistance, and we are doing that over in the Option Seller Zone membership. All right, you can find that at bit.ly/E2T-membership. All righty, y'all have a great day. Bye.